Hello.
Good morning.
And a warm welcome with rain at a place called Coed Foel. Sorry about the Welsh. But we've had another good night, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's our second night.
Very, very quiet here.
Off-grid.
Nobody else here.
Yeah. Not even a phone signal to keep us company. Really, nothing yet. Yeah, so basically it was very, very comfortable, very peaceful. Yeah.
But we stumbled upon this place a bit by luck yesterday because there were some other car parks we wanted to go to near one of the dams, but they're doing a lot of work on it at the moment. They're doing maintenance work. There's one particular dam, which is just where we are here actually, that they flooded a village to create the reservoir.
But yeah, it's such a fascinating place. This trip has been very different so far for us. Generally, we would not exactly rush, but we try to cram in as much as we could in a short time, so you almost just scratch the surface. But we haven't done as much so far this time. But
we're just taking our time.
Taking our time, but it is so fascinating. There's just so much to learn around here. You could spend a month and not see it all, couldn't you, really? So we're going to have our coffee and our cornflakes and see what the day brings. The weather is set to rain all day and getting steadily worse and drying out maybe this evening a little bit. So I think that will influence our plans for the day. But in the meantime, breakfast.
Coed Foel was of key strategic importance during the Second World War. The security of the water supply during the war was absolutely crucial. Troops and special constables would patrol the area to make sure that nothing untoward was going to happen. Armoured cars patrolled the roads and anti-aircraft batteries and searchlights guarded the skies. Also, on the hilltops surrounding the reservoirs, they built various pillboxes, which is what we're going to have a quick look at today. As you can see from yesterday's drone footage, the area is now covered in trees, but during the war this area would have been quite clear. You can just make out in this picture where some of the pillboxes are located. So we're going to have a quick little walk around to give the girls a bit of exercise. And just down here, down these lovely little steps, is the first of the pillboxes that the army had to protect the reservoirs during the Second World War. Looks like a nice little putting green almost, doesn't it? That's the roof of the pillbox. From what I've read, obviously they're brick on the outside, but it had a layer of concrete between the bricks and what they called anti-ricochet concrete on the inside, so if a bullet did go in it wouldn't ricochet around. I don't know how reliable that would be. There's some light coming in from somewhere. Must be one of the windows. Yeah, so they were strategically placed in a position to protect the dams and the water system for pumping water to the big cities.
So, pillboxes seem to be like buses. You don't see any for years and then you get two at once. This is the second one this morning that we've seen, tucked away in this beautiful forest. quite creepy, these. Imagine spending hours and hours in one of these. Keep expecting someone to jump out and go boo. I hope they don't. Oh! Hard to get much of a view here because obviously we're walking through a forest. But as you go along, there are glimpses of the reservoir. And there's the little church. This is a fantastic walk. It's really tucked away. Haven't seen a soul. Which, given that it's June, busy time, you know. But it is a lovely walk. Oh, here's another pillbox. Have a look at that one. Yeah, I do find this all a little bit creepy. I'm not very good with these pillbox things.
You can get a picture looking out of that window.
Oh, that means I have to go in.
Oh, right.
There's a big spider's web there. I'll tell you what, I'll send you in. That's it, I'm going to send Graham and he can get a picture out through the window.
This is the anti-ricochet coating. Just feels like concrete to me. We're heading off to Caban Coch Dam and Reservoir to have a look round there. But on the way, Ellie wants to have a look at Nantgwyllt Church, which is right on the Garreg Ddu Dam. So that's where we're headed right now. We're parked up at the Garreg Ddu Dam. Ellie's going to pop into the church and see if she can get in. It's often locked, so we're not sure whether she will be able to. I'm just going to take a few pictures of the Garreg Ddu set up here, but rest assured we will revisit this to get more detail on this particularly interesting dam. The tower that you can see there is called the Foyle Tower, and this is where the water is taken from the reservoir and it goes through some filter beds just up the road in Elan village. and then it's onwards to Birmingham. The initial part of the water's journey goes through pipework straight underneath this hill. I will explain much more about this dam in a later video, but this seemed like a good opportunity to grab a few pictures.
So, here's the church. Just going to see if it's open. Nantgwyllt Church. It certainly is a lovely spot for a church. The original Nantgwyllt church was flooded to create the reservoirs and dams. Nantgwyllt really is a beautiful little church. It's in the middle of nowhere and it was built in the Victorian era. It replaced the older church that had to be flooded when the reservoirs were completed. The photos I took were quite limited because there was a wedding going on just about an hour after I visited. I spoke to the priest and he said I was actually quite lucky to get into the church as it isn't often open. It's a bit of potluck really if you turn up, and hopefully it will be open. The poet Shelley worshipped in the original church, where you can see a picture here, when he visited the district. Though most of the church is 20th century, some of the furnishings from the old church survived, most notably the oil lamps that offer the only source of interior light.
Right, we're off to see the Caban Coch dam, which is the one by the visitor centre. And just to let you know, not all of this footage was taken on the same day. So if you notice sunshine in some and not in others, that's why. This is the Caban Coch dam, and this was opened by King Edward VII in 1904. There was a grand opening ceremony and the king used an ornate hand wheel which turned on the supply of water to Birmingham. The water travels about 73 miles on a long aqueduct. This particular dam, which is in fact the lowest of all of the dams, has two main purposes. The first one is to ensure that the Birmingham water supply is plentiful. There's more to that story when we look at the Garreg Ddu dam. But this particular dam's secondary purpose, but still vitally important, is to maintain the water supplies to the River Wye. So the water output from the dam here has to be carefully regulated into the Elan River so that when it meets the River Wye a bit further downstream, that the levels are maintained correctly. These buildings on the south and the north side of the river are to do with the generation of electricity, so that's why they're duplicated on either side of the bank. The electricity from all of the dams is fed to Caban Coch, and from there it's transmitted to Rhayader and where it enters the national grid. Certainly comes out of there at a fair old rate of knots, doesn't it? So this is another view of the Caban Coch reservoir. as you can see, the water levels are quite low at the moment. Along this area just here is where the original church and the school were, and between these valleys that's where the Nantgwyllt Dam was before it was destroyed by Barnes Wallis and his team when they were practicing the explosives to use in the dam busters bombs. More about that in a future video. I'd love to walk over there.
So Graham has just said he'd like to walk over this bit. It's quite wide. Would you do it? See how steep the sides are here.
And you can see the visitor centre down there and the bridge I walked over yesterday to get some of the photographs. Now it's time for us to head off to our overnight wild camp.
As the weather's brightened up, we've decided to go back to the Caban Dam in the hopes we might be lucky and capture a decent sunset.
Stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away, show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep every night, and what's it dreaming of? I wonder. How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's grey outside? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. Undressed when it's cold, and don't they miss the leaves they left behind? Could it be to make the ground shine like gold until winter comes? Until winter comes, until winter comes. It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. Stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away and show us where we are. It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder.